Now.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast
The voice of the creative economy.
with Vincent Heeringa.
Right, let's see what the voice of the creative economy has to say today. Vincent, good morning.
Good morning, Wammo. How are you?
Good.
Sorry about the delay. Had the a little World Cup fever there.
Oh, I wouldn't want to take you away from that. Did you have your Vuvuzela out?
I didn't actually, but I was waving the Dutch flag.
Yeah. Wearing the Dutch undies?
I was, yeah. I'm wearing orange undies today.
Good to know.
Can't prove it because it's on radio. Although with your fancy new web setup, you probably could, right? If I was in front of my camera.
Get a camera in front of you. Of course, the Netherlands won, so they're through to the final?
It's the third final they've been involved in. 74, Germany, lost.
Yeah.
Argentina, 78, lost.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Hey, well, today we're talking about not so much the Dutch, but perhaps a Jewish man, Mr. Goldstein.
Mr. Goldstein. The rumour and the speculation is that this is the end for Mr. Goldstein. 10 years on, he first appeared in the year 2000. Can you believe it's 10 years of Ira Goldstein?
It feels like a lot longer, to be fair.
Does it?
Yeah, a lot longer. It feels like he was invented in the early 90s.
Right, yeah, well, he probably was, and made his first appearance at the in 2000. He may be the victim of the disease that seems to grip all advertising agencies, or at least marketing managers, that when they change their advertising agencies, which ASB has just done, they then that signals a change in the strategy and the execution, and they're one of many large shifts to have happened in the last few months as companies reassess their agency relationships. And I wanted to alert readers to a competition listeners, a competition we're doing on Stop Press about if indeed Goldstein is being retired, how should he be retired? What would the script be if you were to retire Goldstein? So if you go into that, and you can win some tickets to the film festival.
Drop him off the side of a building?
Yeah, there's quite a few people that have him done for insider trading or locked up for white-collar crime. A few people have got him sort of married off and living happily in Ekatahuna.
Boring.
Yes.
You got any ideas?
Well, I quite like the idea of him, going off to start a bagel business and doing a 42 below, but with bagels from New Zealand. Exporting New Zealand bagels back to New York. How about that?
There was an episode of the ad where he had set up some kind of business.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He's in the bagel business.
There was no continuity, though, I feel. That at times it seemed the campaign didn't seem a bit fractured. The timeline was out. Like there was nothing. It wasn't that linear. That would be my criticism.
He didn't develop as a character, you think?
No. Like one time the boss comes over and then suddenly the boss disappears. I don't get it.
Right. Well, it's been a very effective campaign for them, and it's not often to see such a consistent execution. Although your point notwithstanding, that they've carried on with this character for 10 years is quite something in these modern times. But the other point behind this shift is that it kind of signals in some ways a little victory for what they call the indie agencies. And just in recent times, the indies have won some really big, successful accounts. The BNZ, for instance, which is a massive account, shifted to a tiny little outfit called Sugar, not aligned to any multinational outfit, and has had to grow absolutely exponentially to cope with the new business.
Yeah.
Also, in terms of wins, as we've mentioned before on this show, the success in Cannes of the Orcon campaign, which was done by Special Group, another independent. So independent's having a good little run at the moment because the ASB account has shifted to a new outfit called Droga 5, which is set up by a couple of Saatchi and Saatchi refugees.
Are these all sort of Generation X's? sort of starting out on their own?
No, not really.
Is it older than Gen X?
Yeah, well, Droga 5 has been set up by Andrew Stone, who is now, you wouldn't say he's the old man of advertising, but he's certainly getting up there. He'd be in his 50s.
Okay.
And also by the guys that have set up the special group, again, not particularly young'uns, nor with sugar, but I think the independents are often talking up a shift in the industry towards independence and the fracturization of multinationals. But it swings and roundabouts. There is a role for independent agencies, and they often are much more creative and fast-moving and flexible. But there's people have been predicting the death of the multinational ad agency for years now, and it just doesn't seem to happen.
No.
DDB, Mojo, Clemenges, which owns Colenso, they just truck on and are incredibly successful. FCB the same.
Been around since the Mad Men.
They have, and the interesting thing about advertising is that it really is evolving quite rapidly. And people have predicted that advertising and advertising agencies would struggle to find a role in this kind of multi-channel universe and in an environment where user-generated content counts so much. But actually, in some ways, they've survived better than the media agents than the media has, because they are still there creating campaigns and ideas for clients.
At the end of the day, they are in the business of being creative. So if they fail at that, then they'll be out of business. But as long as they're still creative and innovating, then they're sure to survive. Yeah.
Well, a good example is the way that Air New Zealand has reduced its advertising spend across traditional media. So it's down on TV, down on print, down on radio, and has increased its spend on things like Twitter and YouTube and sort of PR and stunts and things.
And now Foursquare as well. Location-based social networking.
Right, sure. But at the centre of this has been the advertising agency Colenso and 99, who have played a really pivotal role in terms of providing strategy, advice, creative, sort of executing at a really kind of bypassing the traditional media and getting involved in social media and also in things like stunts and the head shaving thing, and these have all come from out of the agency. So people are have predicted for many years the collapse of the advertising agency model. It doesn't seem to be happening, Wammo.
Indeed. Thanks very much, Vincent.
A pleasure.
Vincent Heeringa. For more Vincent, you can go find his blog up at idealog.co.nz.